Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have again another Mazda. We have a Mazda CX3 here today. It's 1.5 diesel, and what I had with this is I had a bad oil leak that was coming from an oil feed that someone had put on a turbo. There's been a bit of work done to this one with up around here, and I had bolts loose, etc. on brackets holding turbos and stuff, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if someone took off to clean a DPF or took it off to change a turbo. What the heck happened in here? But there's something after happening up here. Anyway, neither here nor there. I think we have the oil leak stopped. They had two copper washers on the top of the banjo bolt for the oil feed, where when we took it apart, I put one of them down the bottom. I actually renewed the copper washers and squeezed it up. And I think my big drastic oil leak is gone. It was running and flowing back to car and everything. Now, where am I at this point in time? I've done a couple of miles in this wagon. And after doing a couple of miles in it, what I'm getting, I believe, is a P0475. Sometimes these things can be quite intermittently slow. Anyway, P0475 is what I believe I have. Exhaust pressure control valve A in my mindset. And what I'm thinking is the actual exhaust valve, I believe, is kind of sticking at a point. Again, I have, it's not wickedly bad, but it isn't returning very, very freely. I didn't take off the actual motor as of yet to have a look or anything, but yeah, sorry, P0476 is what it is. Exhaust pressure control valve A, range or performance. Now, I thought on this yoke I was going to be looking at an exhaust pressure pipe for the exhaust pressure sensor. There is a little bit of, it's an older, I put up a little small video I think recently, or I have a video on here about where they upgraded the pressure pipe going from the head up onto the exhaust pressure sensor on another car. But on this one, the pipe is relatively clear, but yet there is a bit of resistance there. I actually used a Mitivac to check to see if it was actually working and or doing its job. And look, there's no big back pressure in it, but it seems a little bit restricted to me, okay? Not seeing it on this, but it does seem a little bit restricted. So do I have a variable of that pipe being slightly blocked? And could that be actually sending the wrong information from exhaust pressure sensor A to the PCM or the ECU rather than the actual control flap sticking? But what it is saying is here, exhaust pressure control A, range or performance. So to me, that's kind of stating that at some point in time that this thing is sticking in a strange or a weird position. Now, the only thing I can do, I didn't clear these faults yet. I was only keeping them in there for that. Now we're going to go into active tests. And I had actually looked in there already, and I have done this. So exhaust shutter valve position. We're just going to say, we'll just say cancel. Okay, so at this point in time, the exhaust shutter valve is at 82%. Okay, we can, it'd be nice now if we could show this in the one screenshot. Anyway, look, I can increase and decrease there. So I'm going to increase and decrease the positioning of that, and we'll just take a little look and watch to see what's happening. I would like if my little trolley was over and close to me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease and I'm going to increase in incrementations, okay? Okay, I'm just seeing, was it actually going all the way home? So again, all I'm doing is okay, so we can see that we are able to move that but I'm thinking what I'm going to do is a physical test. I'm going to take off the actual motor and just see what way the valve is. Is it snagging or getting stuck like what we've seen on a couple of occasions on videos. That's kind of it. We could hear the motor actually doing a bit of a job there, a bit of a noise coming out of it. So once I've exited, we're back to it stopping. I'm going to get it off. I'm going to just do a free range movement and just see if this thing is okay. Maybe we might be... look, we'll see what happens. Okay guys, I have the motor off and my actual... the flap is as free as a bird. That is the finest. The one thing I do not know, if I'm looking at the actual motor itself, I don't know if that should be like a throttle body, you know, and pop back of its own accord. It does move, but it is quite tight. But I'm going to get another one. I'm going to get a cross-reference. I'm going to get a glance at another one. What also I might do is I might just disconnect this yoke to create a fault and just make sure that we are on the right item. Exhaust, what do we call it? Exhaust pressure control valve A. Hopefully, if I disconnect it, I'll get exhaust pressure control valve A open circuit. Okay, so maybe we're going to do that. I don't think I'll be able to do it with one hand. I may have to pause out. I will. Okay, with that actually disconnected, the other fault we're after getting there is a P0478D exhaust pressure control valve A position sensor switch circuit low. Okay, so what we are just after doing is after creating a fault in the item that we're actually getting a fault for. Okay, so that's saying range of performance, and now we've just created a kind of an open circuit or a low voltage fault code. So we're on the right item. I think I'm going to try and verify and see should that thing, you know, spring back of its own accord. Maybe not. Maybe I'm on the wrong track here altogether. It just does feel kind of funny. Okay, there's the one that we're working on. Here's another one that I have here belong to myself. I'm just going to have a look at the motor and just see what way that is unbolted off the car. Okay guys, there's not a huge amount in that, to be honest with you. It's not popping back. That's the actual one off the other car. And here is the one off of this yoke. It's not spring loaded to go anywhere. Anyway, it's just electronically moved. So we're saying that this isn't the problem. What I'm going to do for the pig iron, just because I own this car and I can do whatever I want with it, sales car, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to throw it onto the other one, just for the buzz. And if that is good, it's not going to bother my car if they can just stay there. And then we might change that pipe that I've been talking about. I'll show you that pipe in a minute, coming up onto the pressure sensor. It was fitted badly on this other one as well, so we'll swap. I'm going to swap this out. As I said there, Swaptronics, not the best thing in the world, but I'm going to do it just for the crack. I don't have any position on live data for positioning for these yokes. We're going to probably have two control wires there, the black and grey, and then I'd suggest that the other ones, the green, the yellow and the white, are going to be potentiometer. I suppose I could actually look and just see, just with even with a multimeter, I suppose, if I'm moving it, just have a look and see what my position is, and am I getting good information back from the potentiometer inside in this thing. We're going to have a 5 volt, a ground and a signal. Okay, we know we can control it because we've controlled it with the scan tool through these two wires, so we know we can control it. We just don't know of the position, and I can't see live data for the position of it. So maybe we'll just have a little fast scout and see on multimeter just what the positioning bit. Okay guys, I've fitted this back on the, we call it the known good, and that's the bad motor. As we said about the 3 wires, we're saying that these are for the potentiometer, right? What I've just done is I stuck in 3 back probing pins. I have identified the top green one as the ground and the bottom white one as the 5 volt reference, okay? So right now we're back probing the white and the green, and on our multimeter we have 4.9 volts, right? The other one then, I'm going to pop out this one off the 5 volt power, and I'm going to go into the opposite one. That's the middle wire, if we can see it in there. And in there, I'm seeing 4.2 volts. I thought. Okay. What I'm actually doing is I'm just twisting that. Actually, might put that there, can you? Hold it. Okay, what I'm going to do now, so the center one is our signal, And what I'm doing is I'm just looking at, while I'm actually moving this thing, I'm just looking at our voltage changing, okay? So fully open or closed, we have 0.67 of a volt, always above 0.5, and back in its home position, we have 4 volts. Right, so we're just saying at this point that that potentiometer, and get off that light, sorry. Just saying at this point, up there a little bit more, please and thanks. If I'm opening that, I'm seeing my voltage changing nice and clean and good. We're just going to verify that with the same stuff on our other car that's stuck over on the lift over there. And if that's, we have our 5 volts, we have our ground on the other car, the bad one, and the potentiometer we know is good because this is the one off the other car. Well, then at that stage we're going to have to continue our diagnosis and find out, and would it be just that pressure? Guys, we're over to what we class as our bad one, the one with the actual fault codes stored. We have just stuck in the 3 back probing pins, and what do we have? We have 4.9 volts on the power and the ground for the potentiometer. So we're going to, I'm going to put that in there. Okay, same voltage in here, 4.9 volts. I'm just going to, sorry, 4.1 volts. I'm going to move that yoke. And we do know that this potentiometer or throttle actuator is off of or from the known good, we're going to class it. We're not a million miles away from what we had. We had 0.69 of a volt, I think, on the other one, 0.74 here. And fully closed, then we have 4.1. Okay, so we know we've power and ground coming to our potentiometer. What the heck is going on? Is it only in just the pipe maybe that's sitting up here on the pressure sensor? As I said, it's not blocked, but there is a bit of restriction there, so maybe. Okay, what we're going to do is we'll get this thing down. I might renew that pipe and try and show it being blocked or whatever and move on. For now, I'm going to erase faults. This thing was coming back relatively fast, 5-mile drive, but we're going to erase faults. We're going to maybe drive it. When I go picking up that pipe, I might bring this car in and see where we go like after that point. Okay guys, on this yoke, I've driven it. I've driven it all weekend. I've actually put in 20, it was low on fuel, but I put in 20 euros of fuel, and I emptied that 20 euros of fuel, and now I put in another 20 euros of fuel, and lo and behold, I have no check engine light on. So have I, unknowns to myself, fixed something? I didn't replace that actual exhaust pressure pipe that I was talking about as of yet. So am I after doing a fix without actually proving it to myself? I don't know. I did change the throttle, exhaust throttle motor from the other car to this car to see with a slight little difference in the range of voltage, but it was minimal. It was something like 0.69 on fully closed. When we put on the newer one, we had 0.71 or something like that, and 4.02. Probably, I don't know if it went up or down on the newer one, I can't remember, but I look back. But right now it's hot, cold, drive it hard, drive it slow, maybe 200 kilometers or 250 kilometers done with no check engine light on. This thing was coming on very well within 10 minutes of driving, and it hasn't come on as of yet. So have I resolved? That's not that I'm not going to change that pipe, but I don't want to change that pipe and not have the answer. I thought I was still going to have this problem, that I saw nothing wrong, and that motor being a little bit stiff was not of any concern. But the long and short of it is, right now I'm fixed, but I didn't see anything wrong. The wiring harness looked good. I don't believe moving it created any problem. Did I unplugging it do anything? Range or performance? You'd think that it's the actual range of movement that the throttle body is doing and the voltage that the ECU is seeing from the potentiometer. Don't know, but right now I haven't put in that pipe, I haven't done anything, and in theory this car is happy for the last 250 miles. What have I done? I don't know. Is there a relearn or reset on that throttle pressure actuator or something? I don't know. I've fixed something anyway. May end up driving the other one. I haven't driven the other one to see if I got this same fault code back in the other car. Oh gosh, right now I don't know. I've fixed without proving to myself where it's coming from or what's wrong. I don't know. All we can do right now is I'll wait, I'll see, I'll spend another day or two and hopefully be able to recreate something on the other car or see it come back on this one. But I haven't got I have it fixed, but I haven't got proof of the pudding of where it is. Don't know. Okay, we'll go another couple of days and I'll tag in with you in a while. Okay, back in my one, as in the known good one, CX3. What am I going to show? I had in this car, before I done anything, I had a check engine light and I had a DPF light on, and also I had that P1056 injection quantity too high, and I had particle filter regeneration frequency bank 2. I wasn't concerned about them, but look up the very top. My hand is creating a problem. P047600 AC, exhaust pressure control valve, A, range or performance. So what the fault code that I didn't have, I have just got back after an 8 or 10 mile drive in the known good. So are we condemning that actual exhaust pressure control solenoid or motor, whatever you want to call it? Potentially, yes, at this point in time. As I said, 6 or 8 miles of drive, and here, lo and behold, I have that back. I'm not going to be focused on them at all today, so we're not worried about them. We're only worried about the top one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little fast look and see, is there a kind of a relearn or something on these things? Would it be maybe an initialization or something? So the very, very small, okay, cool. The very, very small voltage discrepancies we were seeing, is that enough to give us a range or performance fault on my known good car once I change that exhaust control motor? Stall the car out. Is your manual okay? Ignition on, yes. Operation successful. Turn the key off. It takes 20 seconds now for this crack to go down. So what I'm going to do is I am going to drive this car again after we've done this exhaust shutter relearn. Are both of the cars not happy with that slight little bit of voltage? I don't believe so. I'd say it's going to be in the motor itself. So I'll drive on for 6 or 8 or 10, 15 mile, whatever it may be. I'll drive it home, drive it back. And then at that stage, it'll prove to me whether it's the motor or not. Just purely because we've done our initialization on the exhaust shutter valve, they're calling it, okay? Yeah. We'll go for a couple of miles of driving. We'll see where we end up. Okay, guys. 15 mile, well, 24 mile actually. I drove into Waterford and back to pick up a part. I got all 3 of them back. I probably didn't expect these ones maybe to come back as fast, but I'm going to get back all 3 faults. I think that's nearly enough for me to condemn that motor. I'm just having a little fast look at freeze frame data. Throttle is written in here about exhaust throttle or exhaust control valve, circulation position, open. Commanded throttle, actually I'd say that's the actual throttle itself rather than the exhaust throttle. Exhaust gas temperature. Okay, I don't know. I think under load. Yeah, okay, right. I'm nearly done. Well, I'm condemning the throttle motor, or sorry, the exhaust throttle motor. It is a little bit stiffer, a little bit more draggy, slightly feels kind of different. Can't condemn the wiring, can't condemn anything other than motor, because the only part that moved from my other car onto this car. So right here, right now, I'm condemning that. We're done, we're dusted. Other cars fixed and we're on go. Lads, you'd be thinking that it mightn't fail that often, but maybe here we are. There's only 60,000 kilometers on this vehicle, but it was 160 or so on the other wagon. So maybe they fail. Nothing sticking, motor gone. Guys, for this one, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in the next cartoon. Peter Kennedy, signing out. See you later, guys.